Have you ever felt totally overwhelmed in your parenting? As much as you wanted the bundle of joy, the happiness is shadowed by guilt and worry, and your mental health is on a slippery slope. My name's Rachel, and I used to feel like that too. And in the midst of the pandemic, with 2 young children and a newborn twins, I had to do something positive to make sure I could be there for my children. I started going out for a walk, and I'd noticed when I was on my own, the problems and negative thoughts would seem bigger. But when I went with friends, those fears would be alleviated, and I'd know that they had similar thoughts and feelings too. Being together in nature is what saved my mental health. So I started Parent Sanctuary, and that's where I met Tushita. Tushita is a shining example of what can happen when parents come out with us, and she's here today to share her story with us. She is an inspiration to all parents. She works hard, she works out, and she looks after herself.
Thank you.
And top it off, she's there for her children. Before we begin, shall we address the elephant in the room? You're wearing a crown.
Yes.
Would you like to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, it's a big thing. I'm basically Tushita Chaudhuri, and I was enrolled for, I participated for the Mrs. Asia Great Britain 2024 the beauty pageant, and I've just finished the beauty pageant, and recently I've got 2 awarded. So the silver crown, which I'm wearing it's for the Mrs. Glamorous, and I've got the sash in there. And for the gold award is for the Mrs. Fitness Great Britain 2024 beauty pageant. So that's how.
The beauty pageant, it's not been an easy process, has it? There was 3,000 women that were applied
for that. Yeah.
And you got down to the top 15.
Yeah.
And from that top 15, you have really upped your campaign, and you have been out there telling your story, meeting other people. You were on the radio. You've been out to my groups and to other groups, just sharing why it's so important for you to have that platform to shine out and be proud of who you are.
Absolutely, I am. I'm more than proud. You know, the definitely when I came to know about this beauty pageant thing, I didn't know much more information, and because I always had a dream, I want to go for the beauty pageant, because when you see Miss World, Mrs. Universe, and so I always like, I can't go because I'm small and petite, and being a mom, you know, you have got all sorts of boundary. But this beauty pageant, the one I have been to, they are non-conventional pageantry, and it's a size, height, weight, these are insignificant for them. So that's what I really like about it. The other reason why I went, I want to know something about my potential, my skills, you know, who I am, because I'm happy with my work, I'm happy with my life, but something was lacking. It's like, I need to know, I want to know something more about me. And I always had a childhood dream, and I was like, this is the time, let's do it, let's try something challenging, new. And yes, it was overwhelmed journey, definitely, because we had a training every weekend, and most of the weekend I have to travel to London because for the trainings, and we had some of the online sessions training. But I have learned so much this last 2 months. My life, my vision, my mission is completely changed, because we also have to do a lot of campaign for social awareness, like mental health awareness. So I was making reels on social media, going to the community with you, and then I've been to different places as well, talking about the mental health, raise fund. So these things, I enjoyed, you know, and then I know this is me, this is it, you know, this is what I think I was missing out. And then that's how it's basically started my journey. And I think I'm going to continue with this one now.
Do you think sometimes people are that wrapped up in life and busyness and the now, that they feel like although their mood is low, they don't necessarily recognise how low it is until they're out the other side? And it's the glimmers and the sparks of hope that help bring them through, and then when they are recovered, or when things are
Yeah.
When life is a little bit easier, they're
Yeah.
able to recognise quite how low they were.
Yeah. That's true.
And we can always feel like, oh well, I've got my baby, my mental health should be good, or I've got this, and someone else doesn't
Yeah.
have that, so there's
Yeah.
always someone else that's worse than me. So
Yeah.
when you came out with us, you did share about why your mental health was so low, but we didn't necessarily know how low it was for you.
Yeah.
Because you told us the cover story.
Yeah.
And not necessarily the inner details.
Yeah.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about
Yeah, sure,
how you were
absolutely.
feeling when you first met us?
Yeah, I mean, in 2020, I'll go through the why, actually, how I came to know and everything. I'll go through that. So then in 2020, during COVID pandemic time, lockdown, that was not really ideal time for everything. And then I conceived, and with my second child, and everything was going perfectly fine, smooth and everything. So one morning I got up at, like, I was 22 weeks pregnant. One morning I got up and then my water broke for no reason. And then I have to rush to the hospital, and obviously my partner was there. Unfortunately, they didn't allow him because of the pandemic. Then nobody's allowed. In that time, it was a big time. So they asked me. They actually asked him to stay outside, and I was alone in that room, worried about it, about me, about my child is going to be okay. So unfortunately, because of the water loss and everything, they could not save the child. So it literally shattered everything. I was completely like broke down. And I still remember when I have to go through this stillbirth, kind of like you have to give a normal birth delivery. It was very difficult, Rachel. It was absolutely difficult because I was by myself in that room. Because of the COVID, they can't come. Only the doctors and the midwives, they're only allowed. So I have no
alone.
Absolutely, it was like, all I can see, the four door, the walls, and just worried about. No, I was not worried about me. I was worried about my child. The baby is going to be, because it was like, is there any possibility I can save? And I can't talk about, I can't discuss, I can't see any one of my family member, because at that moment you need your partner,
you need
human
connection,
exactly,
don't you?
And it was really one of the worst time in my life, actually. And being a mom again, and I've got another child who's now 11 years old, and he was crying because he could not see me, and he was obviously like 9 years old. I'm talking about like 8-9 years old. So he was crying, he was asking for me and everything. So this everything, and I was worried about my child who's already there, and the other child. But then I have to give a normal delivery, and that was the most difficult time. And the midwife said, do you want to keep, how you want to, for the cremations and everything. So I have to keep the child for 24 hours in that room, but just by myself. And I was mentally, I was so vulnerable. I used to talk to the child. I was like cuddling and everything. That moment I forget everything. That was like, even though the child is not right, but that it was actually, and I think I was so shocked. I didn't cry because I was really like, I'm still enjoying motherhood somewhere, even the child is not live. Yeah. And then after 2 days, they allowed me to go home, and then I had the cremations. And then after certain days, then it's like it really broke me so much. I stopped talking to everyone. I stopped talking to my son, every single person. I didn't want to, I was like very angry, my mood swings, all sorts of things, the mental health, and it was a big time. Stop eating, and whoever is calling and not answering anyone's or anything, completely I locked myself from everything. And I got a lot of help from families. Even the midwife, they've been calling and they're checking on me to make sure I'm okay, because I've got health issues as well that time. So but nothing was working out for me. And then after 3 months I conceived. I have to come out. I was like, okay, I need to do something, because this is not the right, because when I looked at my other son, he's suffering as well, because when he can see I'm suffering and he's suffering, though he's very, very caring and everything, but obviously he can't express his emotions. So I was trying to come out from that thing, but I was not fully recovered, I'm being honest with you. And then I conceived again after 3 months. But I'm being honest with you, Rachel, I didn't enjoy my second pregnancy at all, because I didn't get the closure from my first pregnancy. I didn't get it proper. And then I conceived again. And I was constantly worried about if same thing happened to her again with my second child. And every moment, if there was no moments, I used to go to the hospital every night. I was like, make sure she's moving, make sure everything is okay. So people usually normally they enjoy, they're welcoming, and I was not. I was worried that 9 months completely, and especially when it comes to the 22 weeks pregnant, and that was like freaked me out. And I think I was overstressed that moment.
Always anticipating that it could happen again.
It could happen again, because the near the time is coming, and the more I'm worried about it. So and then anyway, once she was born, and then when I saw her, and I think her heart rate was dropping, and then again something is back again, and I like, forget about me, just focus on the child. But God bless, she's going to be 3 now. You have met my daughter. And she's doing absolutely fine now. And how I came to know, then after my daughter was born, I know I'm still suffering, because I've got a child, I've got another child, newborn baby, not getting enough sleep, not get the previous a year ago, I have gone through miscarriage, biggest miscarriage. So I was still suffering from inside. I was like, my mood was massively, mood swings. My vulnerability, I could see there's a things. And then, but somewhere, you know what, Rachel, at that moment, I was not accepting myself. I thought, I'm okay, it's okay. I'll be fine. I'll just do my duties, I'll be okay. But then I was not taking responsibility. I should do something for my mental health, because this is very important. We always take care of our body. If there's anything goes wrong, we always go to the doctors and everything. But when it comes to mental health, we don't approach. It's like, it's okay. Don't worry. We'll sort it out. We'll just go out for shopping. We'll do this. We'll do that. We try to find out for the alternate things. But we don't basically actually accept and work on it. That's basically, you need a challenge, to be honest. It's a big thing, to be honest. And then I searched, and I was like, let's do something different. And then I saw on your website, and I found out about your information about the Parent Sanctuary. And I believe you've just recently started, because you had twins as well that time. And I was like, let's try something, because it's a mom will mom. Connections is a different thing. And going for the nature, obviously, it's amazing. Nature is always the best thing. And I remember the first time when I spoke to you, and you talk about your Parent Sanctuary, how it works, where you guys go for it. The other moms also coming with the children. And I was like, that's something interesting. So
you agreed to come on your first walk with us to Digley Dam.
That was
it. Digley Dam, if anyone has been there, it's not pram friendly, and some of those steps are really, really, really good for your bum. So you came out, you got there, you said, I've never been for a walk around a reservoir before.
No.
I've never
went for any walk, nature walk, never. That was the first time. And my daughter, I remember, she was only a couple of weeks old, and I was like fully backpacking everything, and I was like, she's gonna cry. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I was like, I'm not gonna go all halfway. Maybe I'll halfway. After half an hour, I'll come back. I was so mentally prepared. But
we got
2 hours, 2.5 hours, and she slept all that walk. It was amazing, actually. And we had a chat, we sat down, we basically had, we laughed, we done Reiki, we done some meditation, took lots of pictures, and we sharing all the things. And that day is like, wow, I need to come more often. This is the best thing ever I've done. And that's how I started going to the nature walk, because of you, actually. And I'm always say thanks for that.
No, I remember being so worried whether you were going to be okay on the walk. And then as soon as we got you into that sling, there was just everything about you just changed.
Yeah.
Just holding your baby in that sling.
I never done that before as well. And that was the first
it
time.
was almost like you sighed.
Yeah.
And all of that tension just
Go. Absolutely.
ebbed away from you. And as we were sat on the bench up near the lavender, not the lavender,
No,
sorry,
there was
the heather.
The heather, yeah.
Yeah, and hearing the sheep behind us bleeping,
And the
watching
water.
the stillness of the water with the reflections of the hills around it.
Absolutely amazing.
And just having that moment quiet with no obligation.
No.
There's no need to talk, no need to fill the silence, but be enjoying that moment together.
Yeah.
And the children just laughing and there being someone breastfeeding in one
Sweet.
corner and someone else was changing a nappy on the grass over there, and we were just together.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling in that moment that she's going to go all the way around here.
Yeah.
And I didn't
Though
know.
the steps were not easy one, but I managed actually. And that was again another thing. Yes, like you said, because I always carry her with the pram and everything, but never with the sling. That was my first experience with the sling as well. And you hold your baby always like this, but that was like connection. And she slept because she was connected to my heart to heart. And baby always, because when they are in the womb, the mother's womb, they always hear the mom's heartbeat, and how they feel secured. And exactly the same thing, my daughter, she was feeling that moment, and she slept all that. It was like magic for me. And I was like, this is the first time she slept all 2 hours. She never sleep 2 hours.
It is great when you actually get a prolonged sleep, and the slings are great for that, which is why we teach people how to baby wear and teach people like what it can feel like with a sling that fits you well. So having the higher slings available on our walks means that you don't have to have one before you come. And that's something that was so important for me to make sure that we're not excluding someone because they don't have the right equipment. We can help them to access nature, even on the routes that aren't pram friendly. Thank you so much for taking your time to like share that story with us. I know it can be hard to remember those times, but in remembering those times and sharing it helps other people that are going through that too. As for you, Mrs. Asia Great Britain, we think it is great for Huddersfield to have such an amazing role model, and you really are. You were always our Mrs. Asia Great Britain winner, not just a finalist.
No.
Parent Sanctuary as a whole, we pride ourselves on being accessible for everybody. We offer free and low cost activities for all parents with children under 5. And do you know what, childminders can come out too, because being with under 5s, it is the most glorious time, and they are so adorable, but it is so intense as well. And having something that is both positive for your mental health and helps them with their learning and their development, having
sharing that moment, because sometimes being a mother, we are so, we need some time as well to talk about. And the kids, they play together, they learn something new. So this is so connections with the community. It's very helpful for the community, not only mental health, emotional and everything. That helps a lot. And you're doing a side by side a lot of awareness as well, which is really helpful for other peoples as well. So you are the biggest star for the community, I guess.
Thank you. So if you want to learn more about us, you can check out our website and our social media channels. So if you just search for Parent Sanctuary, and we look forward to meeting you.